Thank you, Father, for this opportunity to share this experience with these friends. I want you to please introduce yourself, starting with you, sir.
I am Brandon Dodd. YouTube channel FD2L 2017. Yeah.
I'm Andrea Light.
And Andrea, how old are you?
44.
Brandon, how old are you?
36.
How long have you been on your self-discovery journeys actively?
Since 2007, but very intensely since 2017.
And the last couple of months were pretty intense, weren't they? Has it
The
been
most.
longer?
The most.
Has it been about 2 months?
Probably about about the last 4 months has been.
Wow.
5 months have been the most intense.
And Andrea, late?
2017. Pretty much started waking up. And then I've been on a real winding, long journey for about 3 months.
And both of you, where you're at right now, has it been worth it, everything you've experienced? Or how do you see that? How do you see that?
Wow, I mean, that's a loaded question.
It is, I'm sorry. Maybe
No, it's good. It's a question that needs to be asked, and it's a question that I think people deserve an answer to on that.
To help them out.
One.
To help them out too.
Yeah,
because it's happening more and more.
Might be on the same path, same journey, and they might be going through the exact same struggles that I or Andrea or anyone that's on this path or journey are asked to do something and give up so much.
Yep.
You know, because we have.
And how it gets stripped or given, either way, it's painful.
It is, but has it been worth it? Yeah.
Because you see what? The truth?
Right. Like, we're not at the end of the road, but what's happened since leaving Virginia, but most especially in a 2-week period time span that we spent at Hopi, on Second Mesa, that gave me really all the confirmation that I needed of why I even came here, what led me here.
How does it feel to feel that solidness, that confidence, and like, look at all these confirmations? You know, right? Exactly.
I mean, you see me, I'm trying to hold back now. It's intense, you know. And
it feels pretty good to be able to have that confirmation and to have that like reassurance that, all right, yep,
I'm on my path.
I did what I was supposed to do. I've made a lot of mistakes. It's been really, really hard. It's been extremely hard. There's been a lot of sacrifice in a lot of different ways, in my own way and in his own way, and just to get to that specific 2-week period.
And how was that? How did you two, the two of you, end up being pulled together? As in, like, for this journey, this Hopi journey? Was it like, speak on that? Like, how was that?
We probably, to get a good accurate viewpoint, like, we'd each have to say it from our perspective, you know,
and that's
from our
vantage.
So, you know,
thank you for that.
I'll let you go first. You know, you tell it from your point of view on the journey.
My Arizona journey began last year, and like the whole knowing that I needed to be right here in Arizona on holy properties, that began last year. So that knowing and belief in like that's where you're supposed to be began on a personal journey. Last year I explored Arizona quite a bit and became very in tune with the energies and the earth that are up in that northeastern corner of Arizona.
They brought you joy.
Very much joy, love, and when I got onto Hopi property, I was extremely sensitive to the actual energies and property, like what actually happened on that physical earth. And I felt all the love and the beauty and the pain and the faith and the belief and the families and the love and this, all the costumes and the beautiful paints and the beautiful feathers and the animals and the sacrifices and everything that happened there on that property. It just like washed over me.
Wow.
And when I was in that state of vulnerability, I didn't understand it. I was freaked out about it. I didn't know what it was. I had just really become in tune to like my skills of being in connection to the earth. So I literally thought I was losing my mind.
And this was last year or just for this trip?
This was last year.
Last year.
So my first step on Hopi. My first step on Hopi was this.
Was what? Almost a year exactly,
Almost a year ago exactly.
It was like November, right?
It was
Wow.
It was a year ago October. Yes, it was.
So this is the experience. Continue. Thank you.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
Thank you.
So
this is just her exclusive experience.
Exactly.
This is me, my first time on Hopi.
Because we didn't.
We
had no clue each other existed really until she came out to where I was at in Arizona, just like within the past.
On September 11th, okay. I arrived on a piece of property that you were staying on.
Correct.
Yeah. And that's over in Ashford, right?
Right.
Yeah. And so that's when like our existences collided. I mean, he knew of who I was just because of a social media Discord.
Yeah.
And message. That's the only reason I knew. A message that, Tracy from on Discord.
Yeah.
Had said in a slightly panicked message that I left on Discord, slightly little. Maybe you need to chill down, calm it a little bit, Brandon.
No.
I mean, if people like again, and you'll come to learn that what was going on with me at the moment was very intense. And like I was doing very well to be as constructed and held together as I was.
Holy shit.
So, but she had mentioned, Andrea, calm the F down.
Yeah.
Andrea's supposed to go there too.
Right.
And kind of, that's just the
and
synopsis.
I'm like, Andrea, like, okay.
Who the hell is that?
This person, gentlemen, come on.
Let's go.
Yeah.
But so my first experience with Hopi was very overwhelming, and our friend, our mutual friend, Jeanette's and my mutual friend, connected us because Jeanette happened to be in the desert.
That's when Derek sent me a text.
Yeah.
And it was all like, Jeanette, there's this girl. I'm like, okay, cool.
And so, I was going through this thing on Hopi, and she was, a few hundred miles north of me.
At Valley of the Gods.
And Valley of the Gods. And, because I had been in the social media voice chat room.
Yeah. What's funny about that shit is that I had just gotten off of, like, Hopi and stuff, so I didn't have any. I knew what Discord was. I knew I was part of it, but I didn't have any internet.
Yep.
Yep.
But my whole journey in and around Arizona, I had been in Discord, and I had been able to connect with Derek,
which is awesome.
And that vulnerable day, I was in Hopi. I put in my earbuds, and thank God, because there was several people in there who helped me physically walk into a safe spot where my feet could not be connected to the terror that was in my brain.
From everything that you were feeling from being at Hopi Res the first time.
It was overwhelming.
Is that why when you showed up at Valley of the Gods, you were like, because I remember that me and Rick didn't see you come into our spot there. We were off doing something, and getting wood or something. And when we came back, I got in and I took a nap and something, and you thought he went off and did something else, and you showed up, and you just meditated in front of there for like what, a couple of hours, and then I got up.
I didn't even know because I pulled up and
you were so in such a state of meditation. I've never seen anybody like that, and you do it for a while. That was awesome.
I don't even know. I got to, yes, ma'am. So the folks in Discord helped me physically walk to a good spot. You and I had talked somehow. I got in the car. I started driving that couple 100 miles. I think it might have been a 3-hour trip.
Mm-hmm.
I finally got to, Valley of the Gods where, Mr. Rick had sent the GPS units, and it was absolutely beautiful. And it
was.
But yes, I had been traumatized by the overwhelming, because at that point in my life, I had no idea how to make it go away, as in, and I don't mean that negatively, and make it not be in my heart. Transmute it. I couldn't transmute it.
There was too much negative energy, for good or ill. It was negative energy coming in, and as an empath, you couldn't block it because it was overwhelming.
I was so wide open because of the journey I had already been on.
They had opened you up. So
I was just so personally. The whole time I was on that 15-day journey, I drove like 4,000 miles all over the place, and I was ripping myself apart. My mantra was, die to this world, kill this ego, get it gone.
Damn.
Rip it off, die, get rid of it all.
What made you want to go?
So
how did you get to that state? Like, where were you in your life? What revelations were happening in your heart that was making you go, no, I'm out. I'm out of this box. I'm out of this matrix. I'm gonna be me. What got you there?
Good question.
No, that's a question. Having lived more than 40 years by that point, and every one of those 40 years were dedicated to everybody else.
But not you.
And I never put she first. I never put Goddess first. I never put me first. I never held me high enough to be worthy to put me first. And so finally, after, having a few things which I feel, like just not being able to be achieved and almost taken away from me in my own personal relationships, I was finally to a point where, like, you know what? You're not going to let yourself live that way anymore, because you deserve to be the full you want to be, and you can't let anyone hold you back from that, because you deserve to be fulfilled.
Wow.
And so I needed to be fulfilled, and so that's where I had gotten to that raw point where I needed to leave my
self-love.
home. I had to leave my home and put 1,500 miles of distance between before I could start ripping that apart away.
How long were you married? Like 16 years?
I have been married more than 16 years, and I'm unfortunately dissolving that relationship because I need to fulfill some dreams that I can't fulfill. That they're just not mutual dreams. That can't.
Are those mutual dreams like finding yourself and being able to stay in that self, knowing that you're so precious to the all, that Daddy loves you,
Yeah. But I mean, for me, it's fulfilling something that I need to fulfill. And I can't do that with the partner that I've chosen to be married to legally.
But once you got that, you're able to just go out there and strip away from that like you're doing, and you should be really proud of yourself.
Yeah. Well, thank you very much.
How did you get there? Was it the love of the Father, or was it something else?
Well, I think, we spoke a few days ago about, at that time, when I met you, I was still angry at Creator for forsaking me and motherhood. And forsaking me what I thought I deserved. And it wasn't just one or two times. You had a multitude of miscarriages. But that's not even it. It was, that's a physical symptom of what, I had gone through. And spiritually? But it's more of that spiritual non-fulfillment.
Right.
But on this trip, I'm not going to talk about the specifics. That you get into it, you can, but she really did, and she'll know what I'm talking about. We did have some really good conversations regarding this, and she really worked through some stuff and saw it from another angle, a different perspective that had to do with me and my children, and me having to do what I had to do.
Right.
You know.
That's why you guys met up.
And it helped her see it like, well, if I had given birth to this human, could I have done that? Could I have done what he had to do, right? Even though I didn't give birth to this, but could I have done it?
And you're also a male and a female.
You
And
know?
you're both waking up in your own
And
ways.
the whole point is, had I been that mom or had I been that adopted mom,
Right.
I would have never made it to Hopi.
Nope.
Mm-mm.
I would have never been right where I am right now. And right where I am right now is where I need to be.
Yeah.
So
You're finding yourself.
all those months ago in Hopi, when I was vulnerable, I did feel I have to make sure to say, in addition to the negative that I spoke, I did feel the beauty,
Yeah.
the love,
Yeah.
the earth. I mean, just the earth there feels like silk.
Yes, it does.
This selenite that
Yes,
I have.
it does.
This selenite
Run
that I
about
have.
barefoot is
Oh my God.
glorious.
It
Yes,
is.
it is glorious. But it feels like this selenite I have in my hand, feels like silk.
Yeah.
That earth there feels like silk.
Mm-hmm.
And I must...
Those skies.
Those
Holy
skies are absolutely beautiful.
They're
And I
amazing.
must say that my first experience on Hopi wasn't the negative. I was overwhelmed with the beauty and the love and the ceremony and the birth
This
and
time?
the family.
This time?
I'm saying the first time.
The first time too.
Yeah.
Right
I
on.
was overcome with the negative and needing that help to walk to a safe space to get my mind. I was
Right.
overcome with that. But I was overwhelmed at the beginning.
Yeah, with the beauty.
So I have to repeat that because there is so much beauty and love and faith.
That's
and
how it stabilizes
belief.
you to get through your whatever journey you're gonna have there.
Absolutely, absolutely. So with all of
Sacred
that being
ground.
said, and me having fled from Hopi the first time I was there,
Right.
I had unfinished business. And so Miss Tracy E., who had knowledge of this incident because she was in that room too
When
Derek was there,
Yeah.
and they were walking me through the desert to find a safe space and talking me through not losing my mind.
Whoa.
That first time.
Wow.
And so she knew I had unfinished business, and so when he came along,
Yeah.
When did you come along?
Well, I had originally, joined Global Witness Discord because I had stumbled upon one of Derek's videos, and I was like,
You're from Minnesota, and
Southern
you're
Minnesota.
and
I'm
you're
from
from
Virginia.
Virginia.
So
yeah.
I was
Quite the
just-
miles traveled,
Yeah.
guys.
yeah, it's a journey. It's been a journey on both our ends, obviously, and y'all, soon
Tell
get
us
to know
about your end there.
that. So,
How'd you get to Hopi, book?
well, I guess to answer the first one real quick, I stumbled upon Global Witness, one of Derek's videos, just by happenstance. It came up in a feed, and I was like, man, I really like this guy. I really like what he has to say. I resonate with it. I can relate, and it was a lot of the stuff that the Father had been showing me in my studies and in an awakening process that I had in 2017. And I hadn't heard anybody else talk like that and say things like that.
Right.
And I was just like, okay, I'm not crazy. I'm not alone. But specifically how I got to Hopi is about 4 months ago, I was kayaking down James River in Virginia. And they have what they call the Bateau Festival. And the bateaus are these wooden boats that they built, and they were back in colonial days, and they sunk them in the water and soaked them all year, and they swelled, and then they could float them after that. So they float them, but I was in a kayak, and I'm floating down the river with them, and I stopped midday for lunch, and I'll just say that I found something there. I found a stone, and that's all I'll say on that. So
Okay.
As far as
It
I won't say
definitely
anything more than
it was a
than it's
powerful stone. We'll just say that.
Yes, and something told me I needed to hold on to it.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't, so I put it in my pocket. Didn't understand really why. I just felt, man, I need to hold on to this. So I did. Finish out the kayaking trip. Get home, put it on my counter, and a few days after that, nothing was the same. Like,
what were you doing right before you found that rock? Like, where were you in your life? I mean, outside of kayaking. That's awesome. Which sounds awesome.
Yeah. Well, I mean, since 2007, I mean, without going back to like my first memory, because as far as I can remember, I've always been seeking and like looking.
And specifically the Hopi's path?
No, I'd never heard of them before ever in my life. Didn't even know they existed until
Whoa!
I found that
Didn't
stone.
even know they existed.
Had no idea they existed.
Okay.
Until after I found that stone.
Okay.
Which,
please tell us the point.
Yeah.
How did that point you like to where you are right now? Because that sounds interesting.
Well, yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like, you know, after this first couple of days or whatever, you know, I'm like, nothing was the same after that, because it was like a forced fasting, spiritual purging.
What do you mean by forced fasting?
Like, all right, see, I'm not one that I don't like to fast. Like, I don't like to willingly not eat for long periods of time or deny myself things. You know what I'm saying?
This
doesn't feel
seem
right.
I don't like to.
This doesn't seem like a thing.
So, but the Father, the Creator, Source, whatever terminology your viewers like to use, I want them to know I'm not limited, and I don't put it in
just
a box.
Just talk like you. If they understand you, they will. If they don't, they won't.
You know, Father, He will kind of like force me into a state of fasting where, like, I literally, my body will reject any food that I try to put in it.
Yep.
And
wow.
So right after that, for a month and a half after that,
it sounds like it makes fasting easier, though.
It does. Because it's like, okay,
thank you,
I
Father,
guess
for
we're
that.
doing this.
Yeah, right?
Thanks, Dad. Good looking out.
So for the next month and a half, I lived off of a 5-pound bag of tangerines and water. And that's it.
Tangy water.
I
Alright.
couldn't
Vitamin
do
C
anything.
in your
So I'm
agua.
like, this stone is there, and then like I'm pacing one night.
A month and a half, you said?
Yeah, for a month and a half.
Okay, continue, please.
And I mean, trust me, I pushed my body was pushed to the brink of death. I knew I was there, like I was at the threshold, man, and my heart was beating crazy, and I'm on the couch and I'm shaking, and I'm literally I can't get any more than about 2 hours of sleep a night at a time.
What are you envisioning? What's happening? Like what is happening in your heart, and what's happening in your head? Like what's going on fully with you in the month and a half?
Yeah. Well, a lot. You know, am I losing it?
Well, what the rock show you? Like, is there anything you can speak on?
It showed me a lot.
Okay.
It did.
We'll just go with
nothing
the
that
light.
I'm able or willing to speak about. Just
because you don't want to, and that's enough. That's
well,
enough of a
not,
reason.
No, I would love to, but it is so sacred, man. And if this is even anything that it could be, then it'll get revealed.
Right, when it's supposed to.
When it's supposed to.
One thing that your viewers need to know about the Hopi is
my family here.
Your family.
My family here, as ladies.
Folks
and some
watching.
Dudes. We have a few dudes. I love you, dudes.
Yeah, we love
the
you.
Hopi are very, very protective of everything they hold dear.
So you have to be careful.
Their ceremonies, their
don't be taking no pictures or anything,
right.
You know.
Foods, I mean, just everything is sacred.
Right.
So, you know, if this whatever, you know, just not to step on any toes or to be disrespectful in any way.
Right.
You don't speak of things you don't know.
Right.
Right. Oh, I like that. I love you.
Right.
I love you.
Mm.
And even some things you might do know over there, you still got to be very cautious and careful when speaking to outsiders. Let's just call it like it is.
Oh, some other stuff.
We're outsiders.
And we are outsiders to them.
We are outsiders.
Plus, it's not just even that. Even out here, having experienced what you experienced in there, you're an outsider out here now. Because when I talk to people, bring stuff up about Hopi that happened, which was natural as hell right after it happened, it was like, you saw a whole new, different point of view of life.
Yeah.
You know, and weird, powerful shit was happening. Like the events and the people brought in with the rhythm and with the accuracy of just in that moment, I was like, whoa, dude, when you're in this sort of flow, a lot happens quickly. And yet I come out of Hopi and try to speak to people, you know, people that are native or never experienced this sort of thing. Some get it for completely different reasons, which they learned in some other way, but most people look at you like, it's hard. Like, my example is just real quick, so people that are watching can get the gist. I saw footprints that switched, straight up, sober as a judge. Footprints that switched from a clear big, I don't know nothing about prints, but it looked like a dog, a big one. And then it would turn into, and this is brand, just rained. Yeah. There's no tracks anywhere. It's 3 months of like at the bottom of the mesas, that soft sand.
Yeah.
And it switched from animal, a dog, to a deer or whatever has hoofs.
Yeah.
I mean, clearly chasing itself, and then boom, change of footprints. And I swear to you, in everything that's holy, Father God knows it's true. At the end of that, I saw small footprints. They were spread out. So it was like an adult, but it was like a different type of, and it was like, and I'm like, that's called a shapeshifter at Hopi. And people know that. And people act like the normalcy that it is, because it's what happens out there, what they've seen with their own eyes.
Yeah.
And every single one of those Hopis out there had stories. And when they were telling me, they weren't joshing you nothing. They was like, you saw it in their eyes, and there were stories from their childhood and stories from what happened, personal things to them, shit like that. But you can't say these things. I mean, thank you for coming here and saying what you're about to say. Yeah. And that's the only thing I'll say there on my shit. Sorry.
I'll give just a quick kind of disclaimer, warning. For anybody that does see this video, not saying that necessarily be your subscribers, but anybody does or even wants to go out there and see them, you should, one, go there very centered, very balanced.
Thank you.
You should go there.
You should have a reason to be there.
Very strong, very good intentions, because there are energies there.
If Father tells you to go, he'll make you go calmly.
Right,
into
but
that field.
Don't just show up there thinking you're
don't have
gonna
that
go
going.
exploring around, trying to look for certain things, because you're going to get yourself into a situation that is not good. Plus, it's extremely disrespectful to them to go into places that is sacred to them, and off limits to others.
Yeah, and there's definitely off limits. Exactly.
Right.
Exactly.
If they invite you, that's different.
That's different.
But you have to. Don't go there expecting them to give you the answers to all these things, because they're not going to.
Correct.
There are some people that'll tell you some things. Some things are true. Some things are not
are
true.
just screwing with you. You two got a lot of truths. I mean, they were. Please continue.
Yeah.
Sorry.
So just a little warning. That's all I wanted to give. Is please don't disrespect them in that kind of way. You know what I'm saying? Would you want someone coming into your home that you necessarily didn't give permission to, poking around in your drawers, looking through your stuff, taking things? No, you wouldn't. So do them the same.
Well, you didn't do that shit either, did you?
No. but traveling off the roads and stumbling around and looking at petroglyphs by yourself.
Cool.
Not a thing.
Is the same thing to them. It's the same thing to them.
Can you tell that experience real quick when we were above Prophet Rock.
Prophecy Rock.
Prophecy Rock. And I've been to Prophecy Rock, but I didn't think to do what you did. You were awesome. You started climbing way up above, and the rocks way above it.
Yes.
And what happened there? What did they tell you there?
Well, I was farther off the path than any of the natives go.
Yeah. Well, they will allow you to go.
They won't even
they won't. Is that
they
one of
won't
those?
walk past the Prophecy Rock either. The folks that live there don't go past that spot.
And you did what they tell you.
I was walking around, and I walked up and around, and so I was about. I'm bad with measurements, but maybe
Yeah.
20 feet, 30 feet,
25 feet.
20, 25 feet higher
Yeah.
up the cliff than the party I was with.
Yeah.
And they were all socializing, and so they didn't really notice that I had kind of wandered off, and I kind of do that, and, you know. Anywho, but one of the party that I was with happened to see that I was up there,
Right.
and I heard him say, hey, there's, what was it called? What do you call them? They're monuments.
He said that
There's-
basically there was something up there that really wasn't supposed
They're
to have been
altars?
seen.
He said, that's what it was. He
The
says there's
altars,
altars
yeah.
up there.
Shrines, altars.
He said there's altars up there. I don't think she should be that far.
Right.
And he
But
was
don't say
talking.
with the rock.
Yeah, okay. He's
You know what I mean?
yeah, gotcha. So he was saying this to another person in the party.
Yeah.
You know that, you know, like, dude, she's up there.
Mhm.
Look.
Yeah.
And I'm like, hey, are you talking about me up here?
Yeah.
There's altars.
And they didn't get upset. They were just like,
Like, go.
don't let her go any further.
Yep.
than
Back
that
up.
right there.
Back up,
Come
child.
back.
Back up.
Yeah,
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, because, like, he wasn't talking to me. He was talking to the other dude in the party, and he's like, hey, there's stuff there. She shouldn't be up there.
Like,
And-
she's your guest. Get her off of there.
Right. And but I overheard him, and
Yeah.
I'm like, hey, are you talking about right where I am?
Right.
And he's like, yeah. And I'm like, okay, I'm leaving. I didn't touch anything. And so then I just kind of wandered away and walked back to where I was. And so, yeah, there was some things there that, so, you know, I've said before, I'm pretty energetically in tune to the world.
You
And
feel
the
that.
earth.
You feel earth. You feel trees. You hug a tree. You're gonna see its whole life. You know, that sort of thing, right?
Yes. So,
That's a beautiful. Gets a an incredible gift.
So
You have.
As I was walking up the cliff kind of thing, you know, and walking around some big, huge rocks, I felt, hey, there's something up there you want to see. And I saw some rocks that didn't seem to belong, but then I was like, okay. When I heard him say that, I was like, okay, I'm leaving now. I stepped too far. And then that's, you know, when I climbed back down, our guide, you know, mentioned, well, you know, people don't really go past that. And, you know, there's some things there that we need to
Respect.
kind of respect
Yeah.
and honor. And so we did that in a specific way. But I'm not going to share because that's
a
sacred
ceremony.
as well.
It's
That's
a
right.
ceremony, right?
But, you know, there was no disrespect towards me.
It was corrected, whatever there might be with that
Immediately
ceremony.
corrected, transmuted,
Yeah.
boom.
It was
Done.
taken care of right then and there. But I also want to say our guides and our guides' family,
Wonderful people.
Oh, gosh.
wonderful
Yeah.
people, and they weren't upset.
Thank you,
with-
Clinton, and your family.
Absolutely.
Yes.
Clinton and Lyndon, and his wife and beautiful children and
Yeah.
cousin.
That was an honor.
They were not just mad at me. They
No.
weren't upset.
They just told you
They
what
were just
to
like,
do.
hey, you know, this is kind of what you did.
They were
and
just full of love.
This
man.
is how
and,
we're gonna fix it.
and we're gonna
That's
help you
right.
fix it. And so it was beautiful
It's done together.
to have gone through that, and I don't regret it at all
because you learned.
I learned something and I saw something and I transmuted something there too.
Yeah, you
Because
did it in the ceremony.
They were so
Excuse me.
accepting and just like, I mean, this guy, while she was up there doing that right and everything, the reason why no one's paying attention is Clinton was kind of talking to Lyndon's family and everything, but me and Lyndon are over here and we're having our own conversation.
Right.
And we're talking about some things, some pretty intimate things, some
And how
things
incredible that you got into that sort of conversation so quickly.
yes. Like,
That's huge.
and
That doesn't just happen.
I didn't go there asking questions like,
You're a
really?
stranger on the spot, dude.
No,
That's
yeah, you
incredible.
know.
But the two
That is
of us
incredible.
are so in tune. I mean, like
Yeah.
in individual ways, we are empaths with people as well, and so people tell us.
They just tell. They,
Like
Yeah.
the
they tell me
Walmart
things.
checker will tell me her entire life story in 3 minutes.
But this
And
guy
be, like,
was
holding
seeing.
my hand.
They
Yeah.
know
You
you
know-
guys have open hearts.
People
Look.
trust.
This guy was seeing
'Cause they know you
some
got good
deeper
hearts.
level things, and we're talking deeper level things. His wife even walked by like looked at me, looked at him, and said something. I'm not gonna say what she said,
Right.
but she said something, and I'm like, oh no, and like it was good though, but I mean, I'm oh no, like shocked, like oh gosh,
shit.
did she just say that?
Yep.
And then like he's like looking at her, and then this conversation happens, and it's really in depth, and it's intense, and it's full of love and acceptance.
And you've just met this man.
He
That
just
doesn't
rolled
just
up.
happen, guys.
He takes and looks
That's
at
incredible.
me afterwards. He shakes my hand.
And by the way,
pounds
at
it.
that Hopi, they don't. If they, to a stranger, they do that light
No,
fish thing.
This wasn't
But
like that.
the fact that they straight
It was
did
like
a
straight,
full shake
and
on,
then fist pound, and
that
then he
that
looked
means
at
there's
me.
full trust there.
Then he looked at me and goes, "Love you, brother."
Fuck yeah, dude. Sorry,
And
I
I
didn't mean
was
to
like,
Sorry.
I'm
Sorry.
sitting here blown.
That's incredible.
You know? I'm like, is this really going down right now? Like, is this happening? But I'm so buzzing and full of energy. Prophecy rocks right there. This abandoned mesa. It's history. Everything he just told me about this history of this.
What are some of the
mesa.
things that he told you about that specific mesa where
yeah.
Prophet Rock sits?
This is the first spot they came to, even before old Oriabi.
Mm-hmm.
Like it was before then. And then
Wow, that's like the first spot.
first.
It's the first place they settled.
They
Right.
settled. Wow, that's
And
why it's
I don't
there.
know if there's much more that we should say about that.
No, I'm not gonna. I can't.
Oh, well, you guys can actually, because I just looked at the time and we're at 36 and a half.
Well,
Well,
that's
there we go.
good.
So this is a good spot to end then.
Because those are some stories
Yeah,
that
Yeah,
are
contemplate that more, and then see where else you want to take us on this Hopi journey that you guys went on, and
Cool. That
we'll,
sounds great.
we'll continue with like what led you there and what happened when you first got there, and whatever else comes out,
Okay.
whatever you all think is important.
Yeah.
All right, and let's give a shout out to the cat real quick, because that cat
Yeah.
went with you too.
Yeah, she did.
She did.
That's June, but
This is
She
June.
was on Hopi.
and she survived.
She did.
She had-
Two mine did not, sister. You are a rock star.
But you know, I learned from one of my friends that I met there that I not only needed to bless myself, my tent, but also my cat, because our feet
touch the
were
ground
on that earth.
Yeah.
And her feet were bare on that earth too.
Yeah, well, over there at Hopi, just because we're going to bring up the cat, sorry to end it this way, but at Hopi, about 2 months out, almost into the start of the 2.5 mark, my cat, little bit, he's passed on, he's buried there, but no, my beautiful cat, my joy in my life kitty cat, it was possessed for 45 minutes. I don't know what other way to say it. The shit it did, the thing that Father had me do to clear that shit, it was some creepy shit where I was just sitting there literally holding this cat, reading Isaiah over it, because that's where he had me turn. And whenever it said anything about idols, my cat went and tried to bite me. And 40 minutes of reading Isaiah, at the end of it, it stopped. It just fell on the ground like its normal happy self and started purring and being like...
And I learned from my
They have
friend,
some crazy shit magic there too.
I learned,
Sorry, I'm just saying it's true. Be careful when you go out there.
That's why
That's
I'm telling
just it.
people, and I gave that warning, be very,
Yeah,
very careful.
yeah.
Because listen, there
There's some
are
crazy
people
shit out there.
that really want good people to come and be there and
No, dude. I think that was a thing they told you very specifically. Be clear about that. You guys got that reception, which is why I think this is incredible.
yeah, we did, and
You were
back,
quick. You were there for 2 weeks, and you were accepted everywhere you went. Straight up. That shows that.
Instantly.
I want to end this
Yeah.
because I don't want to mess this
That's
up
fine.
because it's at 30 minutes. But I want to tell you that means that your hearts are fucking in it. Your chakras, you're flowing from your heart chakras,
yeah.
and they
People can
feel
feel
that.
that. People can
Yes.
feel
Well, people will hear more about our experience and my to like pretty much 2.5 week full Kundalini activation event during that month and a half.
I do want to know about that. I'll let that be a teaser
That
because
was
we're
intense.
at 39 minutes.
Teaser.
Remind me about that. All right, guys. I love you. Good night.
Night. Love y'all.
blessings.
Okay, there you go. What's up?